In the 1960s, Tasik Chini was a treasure trove of pristine nature. To get to it, you would pass through untouched rainforest, 135 million years old. The journey along the Pahang River to Tasik Chini would give glimpses of tigers and elephants. The majestic trees with their unbroken canopy and buttress roots combined for a truly amazing sight. From May to October, the lake was covered with the pink blooms of the sacred lotus, Nelumbo nucifera. There are only two natural freshwater bodies in Malaysia, Tasik Bera and Tasik Chini. Both are located in the east of Peninsular Malaysia in the state of Pahang. Tasik Chini is the land of the Jakun, an Orang Asli community. The Orang Asli are the indigenous minority of Peninsular Malaysia. The lake comprises 12 adjoining water bodies that make up its characteristic finger-like projections. These open water bodies are recognized as seas or laut by the Orang Asli. The Rasau thickets, Pandanus helicopus, and foot-high tube sedge grow in green islands throughout the lake, dissecting it into a maze of waterways that reach large expanses of water. It is an important natural wetland ecosystem as its presence reduces the frequency, level, and velocity of floods and riverbank erosion. Wetlands act as natural sponges that absorb floodwater and help protect adjacent and downstream areas from flood damage. The surrounding forests offer rattan, wood, medicinal plants, fruit, and wild game, while the lake harbors a variety of fishes. The magical place has captured the imagination of many storytellers, giving birth to a host of legends. The Jakun believe that the serpent Nagasri Gumum, or dragon, is the spirit and guardian of the lake. A communal society, the Jakun live close together with their family members in several villages surrounding Tasik Chini, in harmony with its ecosystem, rich in natural and cultural assets. Its biodiversity includes an astounding variety of flora and fauna, including endemic species of trees, medicinal plants, about 300 species of non-aquatic vertebrates, 184 species of birds, and 39 species of freshwater fishes. Some of these species cannot be found anywhere else. Tasik Chini is one of the most biological, diverse forest formations in Malaysia. In a 2011 forest inventory, 583 timber species, including several high-value timber like keruing and merawan, were recorded. 44 species are endemic to Malaysia, some critically endangered. The lake offers one of the best birding sites in the country. Between October and March, many migratory birds descend upon Tasik Chini, migrating south from the northern regions of Asia to escape the cold winter. Fish from the lake is a vital source of protein for the local community. The many species of fish were an important source of revenue in better times. The Tasik Chini wetlands are breeding, spawning, and nursery grounds for both resident and migratory fish species. Tasik Chini's diversity of flora and fauna are of national and international conservation value. Various indigenous plant and animal species found in Tasik Chini are a vital gene pool of scientific interest. Tasik Chini is Malaysia's only UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. The Jakuns have an intimate spiritual connection with the lake ecosystem as reflected in their culture and folklore. The beliefs of the Asli Jakun are not separate from their social system. These beliefs overlap with all other spheres of knowledge. They see themselves as one with the natural environment in a state of balance. To the Orang Asli, harmony is very important. Harmony between people and harmony between people and the environment is integral to their belief system.
Masa zaman kecil-kecil ramailah balik sekolah ajak member pergi main. Selalu kita main berenang dekat kercuk-kercuk tu kan. Main kita orang main apa nyorok-nyorok tak tahulah panggil kau orang. Macam mana sebab
It's hide and seek.
right. Hide and seek. Pas main sampai petang. Bila petang baru balik rumah.
Rapid economic development has severely affected the lake catchment for over 25 years. Logging, plantation, and mining activities have resulted in significant land use change within the catchment area of the lake. Logging has destroyed primary forest over the catchment area. Despite its protected status, it is estimated that forest cover in the Chini catchment declined from 5,270 hectares in 1984 to 4,410 hectares in 2002. Conversion of primary forest to secondary forest began long before the 1990s, with 60% of the catchment area already logged. The conversion of forests to monocrop plantations, mainly oil palm, has rapidly led to the deterioration of the lake ecosystem. Pesticides, chemicals, and fertilizers have contaminated the once pristine lake. The increase in phosphate concentration at Lake Chini is attributed to runoff from the agricultural areas. Tasik Chini once seemed an ideal site for ecotourism. A pristine lake, abundant flowering lotus for 8 months of the year, and a friendly community. Outdoor recreational activities like jungle trekking and kayaking provided the community with a new source of income. Tragically, the push for ecotourism by the government eventually brought dire consequences for the local community and the lake. In 1995, Tasik Chini was dealt a near-fatal blow in an attempt to increase tourism. Sediment from logging and forest clearance for oil palm plantations ended up in the lake. Some sections of the lake became too shallow to ferry tourists during the 2-month dry season. A small weir or barrage was constructed at the lower reaches of the Chini River to raise the water level for improved navigation. The concerns of the community and NGOs about the construction of the weir were ignored by the government. Later, a navigation lock was constructed to ease the movement of boats.
Ni sungai Chini boleh keluar Sungai Pahang sampai itu sangkat dam lah. Air sekat situlah. Sekadar hakisan semua tak boleh keluar.
The water level of the lake did rise, but the water became stagnant. This has changed the ecosystem of Tasik Chini from a semi-flowing to a still water system. biodiversity loss was imminent with the alteration of the lake ecosystem. Inundation of the riverine wetland had resulted in the death of the vegetation and swamp forest trees. Rapid and intensive increase in plantation and logging activities have together increased nitrogen and phosphorus flows into the lake. Contaminants from improper sewage disposal from a resort and the National Service camp close to the lake, housing up to 800 trainees, flowed into the lake. The lake ecosystem began choking from a lack of oxygen as the stagnant waters could not replenish the lake's oxygen supply. All life forms suffered. The iconic lotus has been slowly replaced by the submerged non-native plant, the cat's tail, a species of the Cabumbabaceae family, originally found in South America. Lotus seeds entangled among these weeds never reach the bottom of the lake to germinate, and those that do find sunlight blocked by its carpet on the surface. And like vultures on a fresh carcass, the cat's tail thrives in the decay as the lake dies. Cat's tail now occurs all over the lake. A recent aquatic plant distribution study found that the lotus has been drastically reduced to less than 5% cover.
Dulu sini semua penuh.
Sini semua memang penuh bunga. Daripada luar tadi sampai dalam
Penuh ke?
penuh bunga.
Kalau nak lalu bot pun
Memang
kena.
susah sikit lah nak lalu pun. Tapi sekarang dah memang tak ada lah. Yang ini yang ada. Tahun ini memang ini aje lah.
Tahun ni paling teruk lah.
Paling teruk lah.
Makin lama makin teruk lah.
Kalau dia dulu kalau 12 tasik sini, semua 12 tasik ini penuh dengan teratai.
Semua 12 sesi
Penuh dengan teratai. Tapi sekarang memang tak ada.
Memang pelancong pun datang nak tengok teratai lah ya.
Biasa memang macam itu. Kebanyakan pelancong datang ke sini memang dia nak tengok teratai.
Teratai tak ada, pelancong pun dah kurang.
Dah.
Memang dulu memang kalau banyak teratai tu memang boleh jadi sumber makanan.
Boleh jadi sama makanan.
Ya.
Kalau kita tak ada macam tak ada beras ke, tak ada ubi ke, kita boleh ambil dia punya buah tu. Boleh makan.
Makan macam mana?
Rebus. Rebus.
Rotten vegetation produced odious marsh gases that proved noxious to the fish, which has become diseased and inedible.
Ikan dah habis dah, tak ada dah ikan kecil-kecil, tak dapat ikan dah macam-macam. Kuda-kuda dah ikan. Semua dah penyakit dah ikan, tak boleh makan dah.
The lake is already eutrophic, which is one level above an ecosystem that has totally collapsed. An abandoned iron ore mine not far from the lake was reactivated in early 2005 when the global demand for the minerals soared. More open-cast mines have recently been opened close to the lake, further adding to the deterioration of the water quality.
Orang asli Tasik Chini takut nanti banyak-banyak lumpur masuk dalam Tasik. Jadi mungkin jadi Tasik sudah tidak ada lagi.
Rubber trees belonging to the Orang Asli have been bulldozed over by the mining contractors since October 2011. The unlawful and immoral encroachment of Orang Asli customary land and wanton destruction of the crops continue. Iron ore mining has provided huge returns, with the state government receiving 5.5 million Malaysian ringgit in royalties in just 4 months of 2011, compared with 4 million Malaysian ringgit in the whole of 2010. Some open-cast iron ore mines are located just 10 meters from the lake's edge. The lake is now perpetually murky, even when it has not been raining. During the rainy season, masses of silt are washed down from the exposed hills into the lake. Since the 1990s, the debate among scientists over the environmental consequences of mining has begun to broaden. An approach to pollution that focused on counting fish kills and measuring pollution load was increasingly recognized as insufficient. Researchers began to focus on the transport, behavior, and fate of pollutants in the environment. They also identified non-linear linkages and irreversible trends in the environmental responses to mining pollution. Increasingly, the traditional understanding of pollution level has begun to be supplemented by the ecosystem health perspective. The ecosystem health of Tasik Chini has been greatly compromised. Water is no longer suitable for domestic consumption, washing and swimming.
Sekarang nak memancing pun ikan susah sangat atau menampukan susah nak dapat. Pembalakan pun ada, lombong pun ada. Dulu boleh di air sungai-sungai ni boleh kita minum, sekarang tak boleh nak minum. Kerana apa? Kerana pembalak, rancangan kekayanya. Rasa-rasanya selain pencarian, selain menoreh getah, tak ada lain lah nak tuju. Lagi anak-anak sungai ni, sungai tengok Sungai Chini dulu okey, sekarang tak boleh lah. Tak boleh masuk, kenderaan pun tak boleh kerana sungai dah sempit, pokok-pokok kayu dah tumbang ke tepi sungai, dan ampangan tu lagi air lama pun lama dia tanah tu naik, memang tidak dapat lagi air, sumber air tu nak keluar ke sungai besar. Itulah pendapat saya. Rasa-rasanya sayang ke anak-anak sungai, bukit bukau. Saya sedih sangatlah tengok keadaannya. Tak ada tempat lagi saya nak pergi, nak memburu ke susahlah. Tak ada tempat.
Each day is a struggle for the Orang Asli community. The deteriorated ecosystem means fish landings have become meager and the water unfit for human use.
Air tu merah. Lepas tu kulit datai mandi lah. Bila mandi tu kulit datai mandi putih. Sebab ada ni lah camp tu. Masa ada tu ada je camp tu terus lah kat air di teluk.
The fish stocks are declining because the weir prevents the fish from migrating between the lake and a tributary of the Pahang River, so breaking their life cycle. There is hardly enough fish for their Orang Asli's own consumption today, and they used to earn an income from selling their once abundant catch.
Ikan yang kita tak nampak lagi, ada 3 jenis ikan. Satu ikan jelawat, 2 ikan kelesa, 3 ikan belida. Itu memang kita tak boleh nampak lagi lah. Mungkin dia dah pupus.
The increased sediment load brought down has increased turbidity of the lake's water. The lake is also shallower. Phosphate, aluminium, iron and lead levels are high. Water is unsuitable for any domestic use.
Inilah dia Sungai Melai. Sungai Melai ni mengalir ke Tasik Chini. Sungai Melai ini kali ini tercemar kerana aktiviti pembalakan yang di hulu Sungai Melai. Air menjadi keruh dan bila orang asli kaum Melai minum ataupun mandi guna air ni, kulit menjadi gatal. Kanak-kanak pun menjadi gatal. Pembalakan yang di hulu tu dilakukan di tepi betul di tepi Sungai Melai tanpa sedikit kawalan. Ini menyebabkan air ni menjadi keruh dan kotor, terutamanya pada musim hujan.
Sebab air ni kami kegunaan seharian. Dari minum, kita orang masak pun pakai air ni, cuci pakaian, mandi, semua guna air ni. Apabila tercemar masalah ni teruslah pada penduduk kampung dan air mengalir ke Tasik Chini. Apabila air ni dah jadi begini, ikan pun tak boleh nak hidup. Kami di sini pun harap-harap nak makan ikan pun susah kerana pencemaran ni berlaku.
A mining company apparently provided hoses to channel safe drinking water to the village. But they just left the hoses at the village, where they remain untouched. There is still no access to clean water. The orang asli can no longer venture into areas where they used to harvest rattan, herbs and roots. These areas are out of bounds since mining started. They have to travel longer distances to collect rattan and other forest products.
Kita korek dulu, korek buat macam lubang kan, isi besi, lepas tu sambung dia 3 jenis ni. Ini warna putih, ini warna ni lah, itu warna kuning. Lepas kita sambung, lepas tu kena itu dulu, bagi cuci, lepas tu sambung buluh, lepas tu sambung kayu lagi, lepas tu kena ukir lagi.
Buat sumpit ni susah tak?
Memang susah, dia kena guna bot lagi, pergi sana, hutan sana, kepang, bawa balik. Lepas tu yang ini lain, yang ini cari lain pula dekat sungai sana lah.
Susah tak nak cari?
Memanglah susah.
Sekarang ada lagi tak? Dengan pelombongan semua tu.
Yang sebelah ni boleh lagi cari, sebelah ini tak boleh.
8 sampai tahun 2012 agak suka mencari bahan mentah. Oleh kerana kawasan-kawasan yang persekitaran sekeliling Tasik Chini dipenuhi dengan pembangunan, pembalakan dan perhubungan. Di situ kita agak suka mencari bahan mentah seperti kayu yang ada sekarang, yang ada di Pulau Sumpit.
The decline in tourism has seriously affected incomes and has forced people to seek low-paying jobs elsewhere, sometimes uprooting their families. While the ongoing assault on Tasik Chini makes the outlook for the survival of its ecosystem look bleak, the young people of the Orang Asli community are undaunted in their hope for a better future.
Cita-cita saya nak jadi doktor.
Ada cita-cita tak?
Ada.
Nak jadi apa? Nak masuk bomba? Oh.
Worldwide, forests are disappearing. Rivers and lakes are dying at alarming rates. Corruption is one of the main drivers of environmental destruction. Poor governance is at the root of the destruction of natural resources, affecting the lives of indigenous communities like the Orang Asli of Tasik Chini. 9 government agencies are responsible for enforcing numerous laws to protect and conserve Tasik Chini. In Malaysia, the state governments have jurisdiction over land and forest resources within their boundaries. Tasik Chini is governed by the state of Pahang. The management of the catchment area is sectoral in nature. That is, the Forestry Department manages forest reserves, the Wildlife Department manages wildlife. The Department of Land and Mines oversee land and mining matters. The lack of interagency coordination has contributed to the violation of various laws. They include the issuing of licenses to log forests in catchment areas and opening of plantations in catchment areas. The absence of environmental impact studies of plant activities is another factor. Non-enforcement of prescribed environmental regulations in the licenses for more mining and plantation activities further contributes to environmental degradation. Another factor is the lack of consultations with the Orang Asli community before initiating mining and logging. The near collapse of the lake ecosystem is due to a lack of accountability and integrity in the enforcement of the laws that govern and protect forests, lakes and rivers. Environmental governance in Malaysia is highly dispersed and fragmented. Responsibilities are shared among several institutions and many actors at the federal and state levels, causing accountability and transparency to fall between the gaps when it really matters. A fragmented governance landscape in relation to environmental protection, natural resources, and rights of indigenous communities pose major challenges to the restoration of the lake. Tasik Chini represents a microcosm of Malaysia, where rapid land use development has affected the health of ecosystems. There is an urgent need to respect human rights, wipe out corruption, and restore Tasik Chini by honoring a system of governance that is grounded in integrity and accountability.
As you have seen, failed governance not only leads to environmental destruction, but also undermines the lives of communities like the Orang Asli of Tasik Chini. Failed governance and corruption are driven by politicians, government officials, and their business patrons who make discretionary decisions without following the rules and laws of the country, in this case, Malaysia. Natural resources are treated like the personal property of the ruling elite to be sold as they wish. Tasik Chini is only one of 2 freshwater lakes in Malaysia. It is also Malaysia's only UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. If the Orang Asli are relocated, we will lose the biosphere. To tackle failed governance in Tasik Chini, actions must begin with the people.
Transparency International Malaysia's Forest Watch initiative is a project that looks at threatened sites in Malaysia. The project provides a platform for the public, experts, NGOs, and the government agencies to come together and look at issues related to forest and the environment. Tasik Chini is a pilot project under the Forest Watch initiative. With its collaborative partners, much awareness has been created with regards to issues in Tasik Chini. With regards to Tasik Chini, the Forest Watch initiative has consulted all relevant authorities. Now, the relevant authorities, mainly the state government, needs to take measures that can save Tasik Chini.
The Orang Asli community speak up. At various consultations from November 2011 to March 2012 with Transparency International Malaysia and other non-governmental organizations, the Orang Asli community proposed key measures to save the lake ecosystem. They submitted a memorandum to reverse the decline of Tasik Chini to the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Tun Razak, on 10 April 2012. A national campaign to save Tasik Chini was launched on August 12, 2012 to highlight the advanced state of ecological damage to the lake. It was declared a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve in May 2009 to ironically pursue a program of conservation, restoration and sustainable development. The University Kebangsaan Malaysia established the Tasik Chini Research Centre to study the water quality and ecology of the lake. Following the launch of the Save Tasik Chini campaign, the Chief Minister of Pahang and University Kebangsaan Malaysia denied that the water in the lake was polluted as claimed. The community leaders of Tasik Chini at a press conference stated unequivocally that the Chief Minister and the university were wrong.
Kenapa? Maka dia kata air Tasik Chini bersih. Dia sudah buat kajian. Jadi itu tanda tanya masyarakat orang asli Tasik Chini. Teratai itu satu-satunya tarikan pelancong. Langsung tak ada
Kenyataan Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Menteri Besar Pahang dan bersama UKM
dan diluluskan oleh Jabatan Alam Sekitar Pahang lah, yang mengatakan pencemaran di Tasik Chini berpunca daripada peladangan orang asli di Tasik Chini untuk pembangunan ekonomi komoditi di situ. Sebetulnya ini di atas dasar rasa pandangan cara peribadi saya lah. Orang asli mengusahakan tanah dia tanpa menggunakan apa-apa jentera berat. Dia hanya menggunakan peralatan-peralatan tradisional. Dan peralatan-peralatan tradisional juga dia hanya memberi sedikit impak saja kepada kesan alam sekitar.
Pada masa ini, tempat kajian pihak UKM tersebut telah dijadikan kawasan gelongongan.
On 28 August, the Chief Minister and an entourage visited Tasik Chini. He announced to the community that mining would be stopped. Under the National Physical Plan, Tasik Chini has been classified as an environmentally sensitive area where no logging or mining should take place. Companies have made huge profits without paying for the socio-ecological damage. Externalities are not accounted for in the pricing of resources.
Sebelum pangan dibuat, ialah Tasik Chini begitu indah. Nyata pelancong daripada luar negara datang memuji keindahan Tasik Chini, begitu juga dengan Sungai Chini. Sesudah empangan berlaku pada tahun 1995, kami langsung ikan di Tasik Chini ni langsung tak boleh nak dimakan, hingga kami hilang mata pencarian dan juga sumber-sumber seperti daripada pokok-pokok kayu, buah-buahan, hutan, habis semua sekali. Sudah hilang mata pencarian kami. Kami tidak apa lagi yang kami ada lagi di Tasik Chini.
Ironically also, Tasik Chini is within the Pekan parliamentary constituency of Prime Minister Najib Razak himself. If the provisions of a statutory document like the National Physical Plan cannot prevent the destruction of a unique ecological site and protect the vulnerable Orang Asli, what hope is there for it to be respected elsewhere? Since the 1980s, development activities have altered the health of the lake. From 1980s to early 1990s, logging and plantation agriculture gradually changed the lake from its pristine ecosystem. When the dam was constructed for ecotourism in the mid-1990s, Tasik Chini began to show signs of a disturbed ecosystem. The decline of fish species, the dead trees, and the emergence of cat's tail are some of the indicators of disturbance. New iron ore mines since late 2011 further degraded the lake. If the situation is allowed to continue, Tasik Chini will collapse by 2030 or even sooner. Actions must be taken immediately to save Tasik Chini. The 5 most crucial actions are: the government to give permanent land titles to the Orang Asli. The Orang Asli should never be relocated. Their mythology, legend, culture, tradition and lifestyle are to be preserved. The Orang Asli should be recognized as the indigenous people of that site. Therefore, the state government has to clearly recognize the rights of the Orang Asli to live, manage and use the land, water body and traditional territories within Tasik Chini and the surrounding areas. All future actions related to the rights of Orang Asli must be based on the principles of free, prior and informed consent. The state government is to gazette the water catchment area as the boundary and recognized land, water body and traditional territory of the Orang Asli.
Harapan yang besar kami ialah wilayah tanah adat kami. diwatakan, dia bagi sempadanan dengan betul, dia pancang patu kan. Yang kami buat, yang kami usaha, yang telah kami tetapkan. Tolonglah watakan pada tanah adat yang kami usaha sekarang.
Plantations are to be relocated away from Tasik Chini. All mining activities have to be halted immediately. The weir must be removed. Tasik Chini deserves to be saved. It not only represents a rare ecosystem with unique attributes on the Malaysian landscape, but it also reminds us of our own folly in dealing with nature. Small changes matter in the web of life. This interconnectivity must be recognized when dealing with nature's resources. The lake is dying, but it is not dead yet. What we do now will determine its fate.